Hey, this is Tarence Lauchié, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this podcast, The Growth Exchange. This podcast was designed to curate conversation, dialogue, and monologue around all things growth. I believe that everything living has the potential to grow into its fullest and most maximal potential. So let's grow. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Growth Exchange podcast. I'm Dr. Tarence Lauchié. I'm especially excited about this episode because it marks kind of a milestone. We started 39 episodes ago with the Growth Exchange podcast, and my number one first guest was none other than Cisco Samuel Duncan IV.
Yes.
Welcome back, man. I don't know if you remember when we started, we were down the hall in another room. I said, once we get this thing up and running, I'll have you come back.
Yes.
You're back.
We are back.
40 episodes later.
40 episodes later.
Now, you said something a little bit earlier that I think is worth leading out with, is that 40 has a significance to quite a few different things. Of course, a rites of passage in life in general, but it's got some biblical references.
It
and
does.
Let's talk a little bit about that as we get into this dialogue about growth and, of course, about personal and professional development. You are a quintessential example of somebody who has transitioned careers. You've transitioned life stations as a husband, a father, a pastor, an author, and now a podcaster.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this 40th episode and what 40 really means. You're beyond 40 years old, though, right?
Close. Just barely.
Just barely?
Just barely.
Right. Me too. All right, man. No, let's get into it because our listening audience probably wants to know what Cisco's got to say.
Absolutely. Well, 40, when you look at it biblically, we see Moses going through 3 phases of his life. Each phase of Moses' life, it pertains or contains 40 years. So when you look at 40 years, it's kind of a shifting transitional period from one phase or from one era to the next.
Yeah.
And when we look at Moses, he went from living 40 years in the palace with Pharaoh.
Right.
And then that second 40 years of his life, he finds himself in the backside of the desert with his father-in-law, Jethro, tending sheep, trying to stay out the way, as they would say.
Right.
And then that last 40 years of his life, he's leading the children of Israel. He's leading
into
God's
promise.
people.
Yeah.
He tries to lead them into the promise.
Yeah, well, that was the objective when they left Egypt. It was go to promise, right? That's something we're talking about right there.
Yeah, it is.
Getting to promise.
It is. And that is the challenge.
Yeah.
Because many, like Moses, they get right to the brink of going into the promise, but then they lose it. Or they fall short of receiving the promise that was there.
Yeah, man, there's so much, there's historic value, of course, to the children of Israel, but then there's also, our biblical, spiritual, and religious perspective. But then we can even use this in a professional development setting.
Absolutely.
You recently launched a project, which I want you to share and talk a little bit about, and then we'll connect that to something that I'm doing in the way of personal leadership and professional development.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the collective.
The 3333 Collective, yes.
Yeah.
So this kind of came about, I don't want to say suddenly, but it had been a thought that I had for quite a while. And an opportunity came where I was able to acquire a piece of commercial property. And in doing so, this is where the whole idea just began to blossom and bloom of having this space where there is opportunity for co-working, for collaboration, as well as content creation.
Yeah.
All in one space.
Yeah.
And so I began to, get excited about some of the possibilities that are there. I've always been a kind of person that likes to be creative in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But when you don't have the tools and resources at your fingertips, it's hard to be creative.
Well, you're making it a resource now for others as well.
I am, yes, because I want to be able to help others fill their dreams. I want to help others be able to jump in and do what they have been created to do. Hence, creative,
The word
right?
creative, yeah. I like the idea of creating common use space.
Yeah.
And even repurposing space, the real estate, the commercial real estate. I had a chance to take a tour. It's elegant, it's clean, it's precise to what it is that you want to do. And there's also shared working space opportunities, meetings, just someplace to go and work. And that creative, we're gonna kind of drill down on the creative part because I think that's where we connect too, is that we're innovative, creative, even perhaps from 2 different generations, yet still landing on the same page of you got to grow, you got to change, you got to
Absolutely.
move, you got to develop. Anything that is living has the potential to grow to its fullest and most maximal potential. That's my classic line. I got to
Mhm.
get it in every episode. But 39 episodes ago, we were talking about your book.
Yes.
Yeah, how's that coming along? I mean, it's been published, it's out,
It's
it's
been published,
yeah.
it's out, and it's doing great.
This is your second book, am I correct?
This is the second book,
Yeah.
yes, A Fresh Vision of God. So, yes, this is my second, I guess what they will say, your sophomore release.
Sophomore
Yeah.
release. I love it. I love it.
So it is doing great. It's been blessing people. I've been getting, a lot of feedback on it. And so we're looking at starting round two of that same release,
Mhm.
just again, getting it back out in front of people because of the times that we are in
Oh,
now.
absolutely. And I think that the space that you have is going to be a good space to host it as well. But let's talk about the content of it. When you look at a fresh vision for your life,
Mhm.
you went through transition. You were in the middle of retiring at an early
Yes.
age
Yes.
and then transitioning into a full-time role as a pastor as well as creative.
Yes. So that was interesting because when I began my transition into retirement, I literally did not have a plan B.
You know, some older folks looking at you right now going, retire,
Right, right.
retire.
Well, I like to use the word transition.
Transition,
Yeah,
or as a good friend of ours would say, um, Jack Vaughn. He's a coach as well.
absolutely.
He says you're refiring, not retiring.
Yes, refiring. And that was literally what I was doing, refiring,
Yeah.
because I did not have a plan B. I had business ideas. I had some products that I wanted to produce and get out to the market.
Hmm.
But as far as something solid, I didn't have, yeah, I'm going to do this starting next week.
Sure.
I just didn't. And as I was doing that and sharing my plan with my father, um, he began to collaborate with me. And in that, this is kind of where full time ministry now came into the picture.
So the secession button was pushed.
It was pushed.
They pushed that button, right?
It was.
But how's that been though? Because in some cases it could be prohibitive for you to be
Mhm.
a creative entrepreneur and a pastor as well. But you seem to be navigating those waters pretty well.
Well, I think in this day and time, in this particular era, you have to have some creativity to you if you're going to lead any group of people.
Anywhere,
Exactly. So
right?
you have to have this creativity. And persons like you and myself, I look at us as premium. I look at us as being unicorns in this era
Quite different,
because
yeah.
we're able to bridge this gap between the golden agers and the baby boomers
Right.
with those generations after us. We're Generation X.
Yeah.
And so you're talking the millennials and Z's and Alpha and all those. We're able to kind of to bridge that gap between this divide, this great
Well,
divide,
I have
right?
a confession. I'm actually a boomer.
Are you?
I was born on the night that the boomers stop booming and the X's start Xing.
Oh man.
Yeah, I actually bridge those, literally bridge. I'm a
Okay.
cusper. That's called a cusper,
Gotcha.
where I live in two generations. I was born into the same generation as my
Mhm.
parents,
Mhm.
but yet, I introduced or was introduced into the X generation, which
Okay.
of course we're the latchkey kids, and
Yes.
we were left to be creative of our own. We were the
Absolutely.
Nintendo kids, and
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah.
Your book, and I'm trying to tie these two together. Your
Mhm.
book, this commissioned assignment that you have to fulfill a ministerial call,
Mhm.
as well as the collective. How do all of those things tie together? Because, like
Oh.
I said, you're Renaissance man is what they
Mhm.
would call it. But
Mhm.
how does it all tie together?
Great question. Great question.
You're
So
still
you're
figuring it
looking
out,
at
huh?
you're looking, yeah, we're as they would say, we're building the plane as we fly it.
I know that's right.
And so it's interesting because you get to this space where some things that you want to do, there's no blueprint for it.
Correct.
There's no example of what to follow, or how to do it. So you're kind of putting it together as you go. And looking at being in the professional space, being an author, being in ministry, it all ties together because again, there is no boundaries, there is no time, I
Sure.
guess, that,
Sure. Sky's the limit.
it is.
Yeah,
And so
and you're living in real time.
in real
That's one thing
time.
that sticks out to me. It gets kind of
Mhm.
gray at
Yes.
times because we're like, no, this is in real time.
Yeah. Yeah.
God said this, so I'm doing this.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. And what you begin to find out is that, and not to be super spiritual,
Yeah,
is that God has people everywhere.
absolutely.
And so you have to be able to cater and to minister to people from all walks of life in
Mhm,
every space. And
mhm.
when I say space, that means not just church house,
Yep.
but that means more so outside the four walls
Mhm.
of what we deem to be church. And you'll find people that are there that love God.
So if we were to piece this together, I'm thinking about, the authorship is a product of
Mhm,
your calling to change people, help people change their lives for the better, growing,
mhm,
vision,
mhm.
dreaming. That's been your theme, your central theme.
Absolutely.
But it has taken you in places and opening doors for you. In,
Mhm.
in December, I believe you're going to be speaking at an international conference.
Yes, in December, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, and
Yes.
that's opening up the door for you to utilize the gift and talent that you have beyond the Sunday morning pulpit, and in
Yes.
addition to your entrepreneurship. You
Yes.
just went to a conference a couple of weeks ago. You were telling me about it was a church world conference,
It
was it?
was, yes.
Yeah. How did that work out? How was that?
It was amazing. It
Yeah.
was it was an opportunity for me to invite others into my space that have not necessarily been into my space. They've seen it from a distance,
Yeah.
they've experienced, but they hadn't had the opportunity to actually step into the same shoes that I wear. So this was an opportunity to pull some people closer to how I feel, how I view things,
Yeah.
to see through the glasses and the lenses that I see
That's what I was going
through.
to say. Lenses.
And now they get it.
Yeah.
Now they're excited, just as excited as I am to see things move forward,
Yeah,
so
I brought that up because the challenge, of course, in ministry oftentimes is that we get typecast
yeah.
and we get kind of pigeonholed into see you Sunday.
Mhm.
No, you can see me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Mhm.
Saturday, and maybe three times on Sunday in
Absolutely.
various capacities of enjoying life and fulfilling life. Before we take the break, I want you to talk about that. What's an ultimate description for you? What is the ultimate description of the man that you are?
Mhm. Oh, man. That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to your LinkedIn profile
Yeah.
or you
I could provide a
Yeah,
resume,
yeah.
but man, when I really think about it, I am a person that, oh, I really wanna see people achieve their highest call in life.
Great.
I'm a builder.
Builder. I
I'm
was
a
gonna say
builder.
sounds like a builder.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I'm gonna talk to Bob the Builder over here. Cisco the Builder. But we have sponsors or partners that like to continue to see what we're doing with the Growth Exchange podcast take place. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Speak Media Services, where we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to capture and preserve their unique stories. You're not just another number in the crowd. Your individuality matters. Our intimate photography and videography services are tailored to your vision and budget, ensuring your essence shines through. Allow us to help preserve the moments that mean the most. With our support, you'll create cherished keepsakes to treasure for years to come. Speak Media Services, your story, your way. And we're back to the 40th episode of the Growth Exchange podcast. While we were on the break, we were just talking a little bit about how it's easy for us to slip into the identity and the character of our occupations.
Yes.
And we find ourselves introducing ourselves or standing on platforms that limit us. But there are those of us who are builders or
Yes.
innovators, or I like to call myself a maximizer,
Yes.
that step outside of those boxes, all still with the same intention
Mhm.
to make life better for others as well. You mentioned that you believe that your calling or your work is to help others. Be
Absolutely.
more specific. In what ways do you believe what you're doing
Mhm.
and living your best life now,
Mhm.
that you're helping others?
So I want to be able to help people take the challenge or the difficulty out of becoming who they are.
Yeah,
Now we know some difficulty, some challenge is necessary. It's good. That's how the butterfly gets its wings.
sure.
But I want to be able to show them that it's possible. Many people don't feel that what they want to do in life or who they're called to become in life is possible
Mm,
because of their situations or their circumstances, where they came from, or what they have or what they don't have. But I want to be able to show them that those are barriers that are meant to be overcame
Mhm.
by who they're becoming.
Mhm.
And because again, sometimes we miss who we're supposed to be becoming because of what's in front of us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're afraid of what's in front of us because we've never seen it before.
Mm.
And
So sometimes we just kind of wait patiently until it morphs us into whatever we
absolutely,
have to become, as
absolutely.
opposed to being intentional. I think what I'm hearing, and this is where we have a common thread, is you're a builder,
Mhm.
I'm a maximizer. I believe that anything that is alive can grow.
Absolutely,
If it's alive, it's got the potential to grow, which is
absolutely.
equal to change.
Mhm.
Any type of collection of resources, in paraphrasing what you just said, is something worth using to build.
Yes.
Whether there's life challenges, hard times, rough times, tough times, good times, bad times, you can make something out of it. I think collectively we might be dangerous, man. And I say that, tongue in cheek, but to the status quo.
Yes. It's likened to my first car was a manual shift car.
Okay.
So I learned to drive with a manual shift. And what I realized in driving a manual shift car is that you can only go so fast in first gear
Yep. And
before
then
you
you
need
have
to
to
shift
shift.
to second gear. And
I'm trying to,
usually
you got to keep the preacher out of this, but go ahead. Go ahead. Go
well,
ahead.
this applies to life in general. In the second gear is usually the shortest gear
Hmm.
before you get to third. And each gear, each level, it allows you to go faster.
Yeah.
And so what I want to do is help people shift from one gear to the next gear so they can increase their speed
I love it.
and accelerate in what they're supposed to be
So
doing.
they're building momentum.
Exactly.
And I'll pick it up from there, that once they build momentum, then you use the resources around you to
Yes.
maximize it. Meaning if you're
Yes.
going uphill, if
Yes.
you're going downhill, if you're on a
Yes.
plateau,
Mhm.
you can coast if you're in the right gear
Absolutely.
after you have built up that momentum to get that speed and velocity that you need. I mentioned that we might be dangerous, and it's because it's outside of the box thinking.
Absolutely.
Your dad said something to me years ago that I've always
Mhm.
cherished. He said, you think outside the box. I go,
Yes.
I said, what box? And and I said it before I knew it. I was
Mhm.
thinking, what box?
Mhm.
I don't even see a box.
Right.
And if I do see a box, I'm going to use it to grow something in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you view the box?
I view the box as an opportunity
Yes.
to overcome, an
Yeah.
opportunity to break out of what
Yeah.
others would say it's impossible to do.
Yeah. A restraint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now the box can serve its purpose.
Mhm.
Like you said, we can use it to grow something.
Yeah.
However, the box is a place where you should never want to stay long term.
All right.
A
All right.
box, again, it's a starting place.
Hmm.
And when you turn that box over, it becomes a stepping stool.
Wow. So it'll be a platform.
It becomes a platform.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's amazing how you can take very basic things and create visual parables out of
Yeah.
in talking about life and change.
Mhm.
I'm launching something that you've always been a part of what I've been doing in the way of consulting and training. We both
Yes.
certified DISC
Yes.
facilitators. For those who may not know what DISC is, it's a behavioral and personality tool assessment that many professions use to help people to discover their strengths and
Mhm.
to discover their superpowers, as they would say,
Yes.
to
Yes.
borrow from ET. Your
Yeah.
super shout out to Dr. Eric Thomas. But we both share this common thread of being able to coach and train people
Mhm.
along. I'm going into another phase of
Mhm.
my business as well, to where I'm offering more collaborative type coaching
Yeah.
opportunities and utilizing coaches like yourself, dream catchers and builders,
Mhm.
and people who help to maximize potential will be made available. What do you think your strongest suit is? What will you be bringing to that collaborative of coaches?
I One of my strongest suits is for me as a dreamer,
Hmm.
not being limited by, again, my environment, not being limited by what has happened to me, but being able to take what God has given me, my imagination,
Hmm.
and let it run wild.
Yeah.
You know, we heard we always hear the saying, the sky is the limit, and it
Hmm.
really is. When you begin to look at it, you have to ask yourself, what's actually stopping me?
Hmm.
What's causing me not to advance forward? What is blocking me that, or what's in my way that I cannot move or overcome?
Sure.
And this is where creativity, again, going
Yeah.
back to being a creator, this is where we're able to um, put things in place where we are able to launch things that, others are afraid to launch.
It I find it so ironic though, and we talked about this on the first interview when we
Mhm.
did the first episode about how it's such a contradiction almost to the
Yes.
fact that your background is accounting,
Mhm.
numbers, systems, math,
Yes.
numeric systems that work,
Yes.
and there's no deviations.
Yeah, right,
So
correct.
where does the creativity come from? It's the other side of the coin, I guess, right?
This is the other side of the coin,
Nice.
and
Nice.
again, this is where you're able to allow yourself just to step into who you really want to become,
Mhm.
who you were meant to be. And when you begin to see that there's more to life,
Mm.
you'll begin to explore and look, and you'll become familiar with unfamiliarity,
Yeah.
because again,
Yeah.
we are so familiar with being familiar with where we are, who we are, and where we've been. We like it. It's comfortable, it's predictable. But when you step into a place of uncharted territory,
Mhm.
now you're beginning to become an explorer. If
Mhm.
you don't mind the surprises, if you don't
Sure.
mind, you don't know what's behind the
There's
next
risk.
corner.
Yeah, there's
Yes,
risks.
lots of risk.
Especially charting territory that you've never charted before.
Yeah.
And charting is for the purposes of not only knowing where you are currently, but it's
Hmm.
also to know where it is that you're going.
Hmm.
And charting also can be used in reverse in that you can look back where you've come from
Absolutely.
to where you are right now. So we're going to
Absolutely.
use that as an analogy in this last round of discussion. Charting your life,
Mhm.
looking back over your years in those things. When I look back over my life, right?
Absolutely.
Um, did you ever imagine to be where you are today?
I did not. I didn't know where I was gonna be,
Yeah,
but I know I couldn't stay still.
because you got how many years of marriage now?
Actually, this Sunday will be 29.
29, and we're going on 39, and I got you
Wow.
by 10.
10, big
Yeah, it'll
brother.
be 39 in 2 weeks. Wow,
Man, yeah,
that's a long time. And you got kids who are
2.
now grown adults.
They are. They are adults, and I'm watching them grow and come into their own, which is exciting,
Yeah.
because now you're seeing what you told them all these many years, and it seems like
And
they
now it's
didn't
coming to
listen.
pass.
Now you say, "Oh, they did listen," because
Yeah.
now you see the fruit of parenting, so
That's interesting too, because you've got one that's got the technical, systematic approach to life, and the other one
yes,
is the creative.
absolutely.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So out of that journey, what are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful because marriage, has taught me so many things, and,
Yeah.
without it, I'm not sure I would be where I am
Oh,
now.
I know for certain I wouldn't be where I am. Marriage makes you more of what you are and what you should be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And parenting, gives you the capacity to be compassionate, but at the same time, being a person that's able to, um, point a person in a direction that they should go, and because you see their potential,
sure.
you see everything that's inside of them, and you want to see them maximize it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You want to
and you have a vested influence.
absolutely,
It's like
absolutely,
I taught them that,
absolutely,
or their
absolutely.
mother taught them that. But I can relate to that, being grateful for just the relationship
Mhm.
of both God and marriage and
Yeah,
family, because that's the secret to true
it
success. And
is.
I want to make sure that I establish that as kind of a pretense of the coaching piece. We're looking at two different angles of coaching.
Mhm.
One, ministry development
Yes.
and perspective of answering a call.
Mhm.
Um, professional and personal development through the assessment process. I use a principle called ACT.
Yeah,
Where you
I
assess,
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then you either draw conclusions or you collaborate, and then after that you just got to get out there and put your tactics to work.
Mhm.
You got to make it happen, which means to get up and to do something. How do
Absolutely.
you approach your perspective of the coaching? How are you? What's your angle?
Oh man, that's a good question, because me personally, I work better under pressure, or I work better with a shorter timeline.
Okay,
Um, but when it's coming to the coaching piece, I like to be able to plan a little bit more, because I want to be able to give and impart into those that we're coaching, those that we're leading, something that they can use to establish who they are and
Mhm.
where they're going.
Mhm.
Without that planning piece, I don't want people to be like me. Again, I'm off the rip, off the pants. I mean, man,
It's
it just
amazing though, because you're
happens.
talking the accountant in you is coming out. You know, you're looking at formulas, you're looking at spreadsheets, you're looking at tracking the progress
Mhm.
and the numeric
Mhm.
metrics.
Yes.
Obviously, is a
Yeah.
part of it, and then there's this part of that dreaming, that
Yeah.
envisioning. How
Yeah.
does somebody know they have a dream?
Wow. Well, how do dreams come from a place of, I don't want to say fantasy, but imagination.
Sure.
It comes from a place where you know that there is something more. There's another level. There's another dimension that you know it's there. You haven't seen it yet, but you know it's there, and you want to figure out, how do I get there?
That's got to be intriguing for somebody who's listening and be like, well, if I sign up to be in a cohort where they're coaching, you know, if they're being trained for leadership development, that's one thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Ministry
yeah.
calling is another
It
thing.
is.
Just being a better parent and a better dad or a better
Yeah.
mom, that's another thing. So
Yes.
so we have so many avenues by which you can apply these principles
Mhm.
of having been coached. I think
Mhm.
we've lived long enough now to have something to coach people on.
Yes.
But where to? What's your future looking like?
Well, that's a great question because I believe what's coming next, I have not seen the fullness of it.
Sure.
I know where I want to be. I know where I want to go, and I have a my own vision of what that looks like.
Hmm.
But I'm playing it one note at a time, one day at a
I know that's
time,
right.
and it's all coming together,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so in 5 years from now, where do I see myself? I see myself um, having a greater, more of a global impact
Okay.
of where I
I can see
am
that.
now,
I can see
and
that because you have a global vision.
yes, yes, and again, it's not global to be known, to be recognized, to be the celebrity, but it's global to impact in a way that I know that it will continue to have a ripple effect on other people as well.
Well, I'm with you on that, man. I think that good people need to flock together,
Yes.
in that we have the opportunities to fulfill mission and purpose in our
Mhm.
lives while impacting the lives of others in a
Yeah.
positive way,
Yeah.
helping them to dream
Hmm.
and discover that it is a dream. Because some
Yes.
people just think, oh, you know, I just had this premonition.
Right.
I knew something. Well, no, you call it a
Yeah.
dream. You know, your first book
Absolutely.
deals specifically with the dream. And
Absolutely.
then the second book is Dream Again. So if you haven't gotten it, you should check it out on Amazon. Could you get it on
They can
Amazon?
get it on Amazon or at my website at
Okay.
pastorcisco.com.
PastorCisco.com. You can
Yes.
get either of those two books or both of those books. They make great life group materials. Um, what do you want to ask me? Let's talk a little bit in exchange, as far as
Yes.
since we're on the platform of talking about our coaching lives.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, where are you going? We see a lot
I'm going to
of
heaven. No, no.
amen.
That's the goal, right? Yeah.
But you're in a unique space as well.
Hmm.
Because you, like me, we have our feet in a couple different areas,
Hmm.
not just within the church, but there's also in the marketplace.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself pulling those two things together? And you've done that well for years, but I think now it's at a different place where it requires a little bit more attention and detail.
Yeah, though that's a very good question. I appreciate you asking that in context, because I see life in stages. Those first 20 years of your life are your learning years,
Hmm.
right? And then the second 20 years of your life are your earning years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then the next 20 are your burning years, where
Mhm.
you're burning off the
Yeah.
fuel, you're actually keeping somebody else warm,
Mhm.
you're producing light, you're emitting energy through the
Yeah.
burning years. And then that last set of years, God, of course, grant you that grace, would be your returning years.
Mhm.
And so moving forward, I want to live to the returning years, but right now I'm burning a light, trying to create an energy source. And when I say energy source, I'm talking the Holy Spirit. I'm
Yes.
talking gotta be
Yes.
gotta be clear these
Yes.
days. I'm talking about the gifts, the talents, the
Mhm.
years of experience, because mine has not been without challenge.
Yeah.
You know, I've come through some great life challenges, from
Mhm.
teen homelessness to fatherlessness, to all of these things that have now reproduced in me this drive to help somebody else. So I just see myself transitioning people's perspective,
Mhm.
because you have to walk them through who you are,
Yes.
from me being limited to one role or
Okay.
one capacity to this multi-dimensional individual that is looking to help people grow. So I'll spend the rest of my days helping somebody to grow and growing myself.
Yeah.
But I want to put more of intentionality to it through the
Mhm.
coaching business and through going from simply being a speaker and a consultant to actually being a coach
Mhm.
and a life facilitator, and that's a privilege or an honor that I
Gotcha.
think that I'll walk in and
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
to maximize. And there's that word again, right?
Maximize.
Maximize. We both
Absolutely.
launched businesses early.
Yes.
We launched our businesses. My wife teases me. She say, "How your little business doing?" You know, I say, "My little business
Little
is doing
business, huh?
all right. Is doing all right." So, what would you like to share with the viewers or the listeners as we get ready to close out, man?
Yeah, sure. I want to share with the viewers and listeners on today that we're in an era where things are not about to happen, they're already happening. The shift has already begun. There's going to be so many different things that are presented to us over the next few days, weeks, months, years that we really need to pay attention to. And who we are, who God has created us to be, we are solutions in the earth for every problem that may present itself. And I want people to begin to see themselves as just that, being solutions, divine solutions sent on assignment to make sure that those persons that they come in contact with are impacted eternally for good.
I love it, man. That applies both on a level of spirituality, professionalism,
Yeah.
family, community. It just crosses all of the
Yeah.
the T's and dots all the I's, as they would say. It's an honor, man, to have you as a friend and as
Absolutely.
they would say a compatriot. We're
Yes.
we're working toward the same goal and the objective, and hopefully we'll give God the glory while we're doing
We
it.
sure will.
We're moving toward this identity
Yeah.
of the pastor, the teacher, the prophet or apostle being also that individual in the community that you can touch base with, that you can talk. We didn't get a chance to talk about your coffee business.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got quite a few good irons in the fire. But hey, check him out,
Calm.
pastorcisco.com
Yes.
is where you can reach him. You'll be hearing a little bit more about the collaborative that we're working on. And then if you're ever in the greater Lansing area and you need workspace, a podcast studio, or a spot to have a great meeting,
The 3333 Collective.
3333 Collective. Hey, listen, thanks for tuning in to the 40th episode, the 40th edition. That's something
Yes,
special about that,
it is.
of the Growth Exchange podcast with Dr. Tarence Lauchié. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Growth Exchange. I'm Dr. Tarence Lauchié. It's been a pleasure to have these conversations and dialogues with our guests. If you notice, one thing we all share in common, and that is the ability, the desire, and the potential to grow and maximize our fullest potential. So keep tuning in. Share this with somebody, like it, maybe even invite somebody. And if you'd like to be a guest, contact us with the information that's here and available for you. Let's grow.